living in a cage with invisible walls. The wicked zeitgeist of life making grown men crawl on their knees begging please save us from the boogeymen funded by the CIA, funneled through Arabian banks like a shank to the neck. They hit you from the back, no sweat, hold check and watch you shake and take away your freedom. You really don't need them when you're tucked away safe and protected by FEMA. Man, you must be a dreamer like the great pretender. Ask the Second Amendment, why I'll never surrender, but I'll never plead the Fifth. When it comes to September, I'ma yell it from the roof and expose the agenda. It's time to wake up and open your eyes to the matrix. This is going out to the truthers and patriots, living free and dying hard, speaking through battle.
Under a full state of martial law, FEMA is here to send you to their detention camps to sort out who shall live and who shall die. Those unfortunates whose names are found among the millions of fellow Americans on FEMA red blue lists will never come out of the FEMA camps alive, although they may have to go through hell before they are finally terminated. Such offenders are essentially deemed resistors of the New World Order, as my CIA and military insiders told me personally. Oh, all of us in the CIA know all about the concentration camps in America and their purpose. We all know that their purpose is to terminate resistors of the New World Order under martial law. Source: Michael Mahoney, 20 years Naval Intelligence CIA under Bush Sr. For example, the FEMA death camp of the Mojave is a full-gas and cremating death camp, dedicated to the termination of all on FEMA's red-blue list under martial law. I have previously documented this horrific death camp, and documented the eyewitness accounts of several former NWO supporters who were flown out there. My friends, Doc Marquis, Illuminati, and Elaine Nost, CIA Luciferian, formerly high-level Illuminati Luciferians, but now are supposed Christians for many years, were both flown separately to this facility in the Mojave Desert of California. It boasts a landing strip. According to another contact, a D agent who personally investigated this FEMA facility, it was recently doubled in size to increase killing capacity. It is fully staffed. All staff members wear black SWAT team uniforms. When I asked Doc Marquis what his sentiments were, back when he was a member of the Illuminati and given a tour of this killing facility, his reply was, "Sheer joy. I rejoiced at the thought of Christians being terminated in this place." A chilling response, but typical of this nation's Satanists and NWO supporters. This FEMA death camp was shown off as something the NWO and FEMA was literally proud of. And there are many more FEMA detention camps whose ultimate purpose under martial law is not to save life, but to terminate human lives deemed unworthy of entering into the dawning of Lucifer's New World Order. Know the cold hard facts about FEMA, and then think twice before going meekly to such camps under a state of martial law in your region. We are all on a red or blue list somewhere. Those on the red list will be walked on at 4 a.m. and taken to the camps and probably killed. Red list: these people are the enemies of the NWO. They are the leaders of patriot groups, outspoken ministers, outspoken talk show hosts, community leaders, and even probably net leaders. These people will be dragged out of their homes at 4 a.m. and will be taken to FEMA detention centers and killed. This will take place approximately 2 weeks before martial law is enforced. Blue list: these are also enemies of the NWO, but are followers of the red list folks. These people will be rounded up after martial law is in place, and will be taken to the detention centers and re-educated. Various mind control techniques will be used on them. Most will not survive this. Mr. Springmeyer was not specific on exactly who was on the blue list, but I would guess that people such as you and I are on that list. Yellow list: these are citizens who know nothing about the NWO, which is the New World Order, and don't want to know. They are considered to be no threat at all and will be instructed as to how to behave and will most likely do whatever they are told. Unfortunately, there are too many of these to be effectively controlled, so many will be killed or starved. By the way, once you're in the FEMA camp, they will start chipping the people with the satanic RFID chip 666. All this and much more is prophesied in the book of
The United States government has been working to end the Constitution, because it has been bought by corporations, and this will endanger the American people. We will not stand by and watch while this government that are controlled by corporations of deception rips away from all of us the freedoms that our forefathers granted us, freedoms that were fought for, bled for, that our ancestors died for. We must ensure that blood was not shed in vain, that their lives were indeed lost for a great nation that is not yet lost. We refuse to let the United States government destroy our way of life. The United States government insists on labeling us as terrorists. The question is, who do we terrorize? Is it probable that the United States government is truly afraid of we, the people? Nevertheless, the time for action is now. It is time to remind the government that we, the American people, are the ones who hold the power of this country, not them. The American people have realized that the current government is no longer functional, our economy is unstable, our representatives are uncooperative, and our system destroyed. For years, voting has been useless. Corporations and lobbyists are the true leaders of this country, and are the ones with the power that are controlling our way of being. To rebuild our government, we must first destroy it. Our time for democracy is now. Our time for resolution is now. This is America's time for revolution. To restore our constitutional rights. To once again be free. Therefore, Anonymous, along with the American people, have decided to openly declare war on the United States corporate-controlled government. This is a call to arms. We call upon the citizens of the United States to stand beside us in overthrowing this corrupted body, and call upon a new era. We refuse to be a police state. We refuse to be brutalized and dehumanized by the very people our tax dollars fund to protect our cities and streets. We will not allow the government to control our destiny, our right to build a life for ourselves. We demand freedom from government control, taxation, repossession, and death. You will not come to our doors to take our guns and our property. You will not force the citizens of this great country to participate in the unlawful act of government-mandated health care. We the people refuse to put in your control our food, our water, our health, our bodies, our minds, and our lives. We will not grant permission for the government to deploy drones over our homes and communities. We must end the Federal Reserve. A private central bank should not issue our currency, set interest rates, and run over our economy. Rather, we need to return control over the currency to the American people where it belongs. You, the United States government, have overstepped your privileges for the last time. Our peaceful actions, patience and restraint, have been demonstrated, and we watched and waited for our Congress and representatives to speak for the American citizens, to protect us from the tyrants that sits in the Oval Office, and happily strips the American people of their rights. With every new executive orders, we have waited long enough. The Declaration of Independence establishes the supremacy of the people, and the right and duty to defend the rights of the people over the acts of the government. Our Constitution provides for as many protections as possible to ensure that the government is subservient to the people, and only exists for the purpose of serving the people. However, should these protections fail, it is up to the people to rise up against the government, and put the government back in its place. In this capacity, the people act as the fourth branch of government, to take control and to override their decisions, which violate the fundamental rights of the people's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Will hit the high that depends on how resistant the government is to complying with the will of the people.
Greetings, citizens of the world. Those of you from the United States should know the 4th of July is Independence Day. Like Memorial Day, Independence Day should also be about remembering. While there's nothing wrong with celebrating on Independence Day, it's important to know why you're celebrating and what the day is really about. The past is often sadly overlooked or forgotten. It can seem irrelevant when facing the challenges of today. However, many of the challenges we face today are challenges people faced in the past as well. The simple fact is that besides technological advances, we are very similar to our ancestors. For throughout human history we have always faced injustice, and in response have pursued our basic rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This 4th of July we celebrate our independence from the tyranny and oppression of one nation, while remaining ever vigilant to avoid tyranny and oppression within our own. Just as Britain has had its light spots and dark spots in history, so has the United States. It's vitally important to remember the challenges of the past are still very similar to the challenges of the present. Nevertheless, if we learn from the challenges of the past and present, we can avoid making the same mistakes in the future. We are anonymous, we are legion, we can forgive, yet we shall never forget. Expect us.